Welcome back to American Without a Clue. I'm Zach, an American Without a Clue, and in today's episode, I'll be reacting to 11 weird things I had never seen before coming to Australia. If you're new here, please be sure to like the video. It would really help me out a lot if you would subscribe to the channel at some point during this video if you like the content that you're seeing, and drop a comment down below that lets me know what you thought about the video and maybe some future reactions as well. But without further ado, let's get started on today's video. If you're unfamiliar with me and this is your first time seeing my content, hi. I have almost no knowledge of Australian culture whatsoever, so this is all very fresh to me. Born, bred, raised in America with almost zero foundational knowledge for other countries outside of the American bubble. So I am looking forward to this journey of learning all about Australia as much as I possibly can. We're talking the culture, the food, the sports, the music. So all those things are fair game, and I would appreciate you steering me in the right direction. Let's jump into the video.
In this video, we're going to talk about the weirdest things I found in Australia that I had never seen before. Let's get started. The first thing is separate toilets and no bidets. In Australia, many houses are usually designed with the toilets separate from the main bathroom. So basically you have a little room just for the toilet and then a bathroom where you wash your hands, you have the mirror, the shower. And based on my research, historically, this was done for practical reasons, to allow one person to use the toilet while another uses the bathroom.
I mean, that makes sense. Is that as common as she's saying it is? Because the only time that I've been familiar with this kind of layout would be like in a hotel. So some of your higher end hotels here in the States will have this segmented toilet area from, say, the shower, the bathtub, and the mirror and the sink. But it's not something you see super common in homes. Normally, if you have a segmented toilet, it's a half bath, like there's no attached bathroom to it. So we're the first thing on this countdown list, and I'm already like, huh?
Etc. And another reason, of course, is hygiene and privacy. And again, this is something super surprising because in my country, I'm originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and in my country, separate toilets don't exist. So when I first came here, especially I was living in a share house, and yeah, I found it very interesting, but at the same time, again, very practical, especially if you're living in a house with a lot of people, perhaps a big family with children. You don't have to wait for your turn to use the toilet. You just
Sometimes my wife doesn't want to get ready in the mirror while I'm sitting on the toilet behind her.
can go, and then another person can have a shower in the separate bathroom. And another thing in relation to this, in relation to bathrooms and toilets, and this is something that I had first seen in the US, and then when I came to Australia again, it surprised me because it's not usual here either. It's bidets, or we call them bidet. Yeah, that was another huge difference.
That's not common
Argentina,
here.
Bidets are basically an essential part of the bathroom, and in many European countries, this is the case as well. But yeah, in Australia, they don't exist. And I remember I was so surprised that I told my friends about it, and they were like, oh, that's disgusting. How come they don't have bidets? Then I told my Aussie friends about the bidets, and they find disgusting the fact that we have bidets as well. So it's a very interesting cultural difference.
I've never used a bidet. I don't even know if I know anyone that has a bidet. I don't think I've ever been anywhere that has one and had the opportunity to use a bidet. So maybe it's just larger metropolitan areas of the US, but I live in a very small town. And even the biggest city near where I am is not like super huge. So,
and yeah, I don't know, it's something that caught my attention. The second thing that I found very weird is Vegemite. Aussies love their Vegemite, and again, this is one of the weirdest things that I've come across. And if you don't know what it is, this is a spread that is made of brewer's yeast.
Okay, perfect. Also, trying to keep in mind of how many times I'm pausing. You guys, I'm leaving it up to you to tell me if I'm pausing too much or not pausing enough. The amount of Vegemite on that bread there, would you say that's A, too much, B, not enough, or C, the right amount? Because I want to try Vegemite. It's going to be in my next order that I place to have shipped for products. which if you've not seen some of my taste tests thus far, I've done Tim Tams and Shapes, as well as some other like candies and sweets and stuff. What do we think about that distribution? I don't want to hate it because I put too much on there the first time. And also, do you eat it with cheese?
Yeast extract, a byproduct of beer manufacturing that you can put on a piece of toast, crackers, sandwiches. And I remember the first time that I tried Vegemite. It wasn't actually here in Australia, but it was 1 year before coming here. I was studying English with an Aussie teacher, and I remember that he brought Vegemite for me to try. And at the beginning, when I looked at it, I hadn't tried it yet. When I looked at it, I thought it was yummy because it reminded me of chocolate, right? Like if you see the color of Vegemite, it looks like Nutella. And then, of course, I gave it a try. He put it on a piece of toast. Basically, you have just to put a bit of butter, then a bit of Vegemite. And I tried it, and yeah, my face, it was basically lemon face. It was the weirdest thing that I had.
Is it? I feel like I've heard that it's super salty, which is why you have to get the distribution right. Because if you just lather it on like you're doing like jam or some kind of preserves, it's basically like you're licking a salt cube spread on a piece of buttered bread. So I need very specific analogies and or like levels of distribution so that I get it right the first time so I can love it. I want to love it. I'm not a picky eater. I don't feel like I'll hate it, but I want to love it. And set me up for success.
Ever tried in my life. Now I like it. I don't eat it every day, but I do live with my Aussie partner, and Vegemite is an essential item in the house, in the fridge. And to give you an idea, it basically tastes very salty.
That's a lot of butter
too. As well. And an interesting fact as well is that Vegemite apparently was born in the 1920s in Melbourne, and it was an attempt to replicate the British Marmite, which I haven't tried. Please don't troll me, because when I read this interesting fact to my partner, he got very offended. So please don't blame it on me. This is on the internet. I don't know.
What's the difference? What's the difference?
Whether it is true or not, you can leave a comment below and tell me what you think. Another thing that caught my attention when I first came to Australia is the fact that alcohol is sold separately. So you won't find alcohol in supermarkets. I remember the first time that I went to a supermarket to get a bottle of wine, and I spent at least 30 minutes going around just looking for the alcohol section, right? And I couldn't find it until I asked, and of course I realized that there was a bottle shop outside. Apparently this is...
So no alcohol. Are we talking, because we have what we call ABC stores in the States, which are like where you get kind of like your hard liquors, like your vodkas and your rums, but you can buy bottles of wine, beers, sours, ales, that kind of stuff you can find in your everyday supermarket. It doesn't really matter which one you go to. They're pretty casually sold there, but you guys don't have any of that in your grocery stores?
It's a measure that they've taken to limit or shop outside. Apparently this is a measure that they've taken to limit excessive alcohol drinking. As I've said in other videos, Australia is known for having a strong drinking culture, and that's why there are high taxes on alcohol. And also it seems that that's the reason why they have separate bottle shops. Whereas in my country, in Argentina, as well as in many European countries, when you go to the supermarket, you'll always find the alcohol section right in there. We don't have separate bottle shops. So that's an interesting difference and something that now I've gotten used to it, but yeah, it's still a bit, I don't know, weird. Again, another thing that caught my attention when I first came to Australia is the fact that Australians place stuff that they don't want on the street outside their home. And this practice is called hard rubbish collection. And most of these items are usually pieces of furniture or appliances that people put outside their homes for other people to come and pick them up, or for a truck to pick it up. So it's very interesting. And to be honest, many of these items are usually in really good shape. I know many people who basically make a living out of that. They go and collect, I don't know, a couch that perhaps is in good condition or just a bit dirty. They clean it up, or they refurbish it, and then they sell it on Facebook Marketplace, and they made a lot of money. So yeah, perhaps it's a good business idea if you want to explore that. Another thing that I found very surprising when I first came to Australia is the fact that there are very, very hefty fines for putting your feet on public transport seats. And these fines actually go up to 288 Australian dollars. It's insane. And of course, it makes sense, right? I don't think anywhere in the world it's polite or respectful to put your feet on the seat, right?
But
on the public transport seat where other people are going to sit. It's basic good manners. But
it's not uncommon for public transport for somebody to be laying like as if it's their bed across a row of seats on public transport. Wow. All right.
I had never seen that they actually fine you for that, and such, again, hefty fines.
Yeah, how does one enforce that? Like, there's no law enforcement. They can't have law enforcement on every public transport. So do the train stewardess or whatever they would call them have the ability to write tickets? Or they're just cameras in public transport, and it's like if you run a red light and the camera snaps a photo of your license plate, you get like a ticket in the mail. Like, how would you enforce such a thing?
So yeah, that's something that caught my attention. Housewarming parties. Now, I remember the first time that I was invited to a gathering here in Australia, and that was actually a housewarming party. And I remember when I got that invitation, I was a bit confused because I was like, what is a housewarming party? I had to Google it, right? And I'm sure that housewarming parties are very normal in many countries, but at least not in mine. So again, for me, this was weird. And if you don't know what a housewarming party is, let me explain very quickly. This is basically a tradition where you invite your friends to come see your new home. Basically, when you move to a new house, you have a gathering with drinks, finger food, etc., and you show your friends your new place.
We have something in common. Yay!
That's basically it. I feel that it's an excuse to just have a gathering and drink with your mates, and that's perfectly fine. I actually love housewarming parties, so much so that in my previous place, back in 2019, before the pandemic, I hosted a onesie housewarming party. We were 35 adults, all wearing onesies and having snacks, chatting, playing games. It was super fun, and since then I love housewarming parties. So it was a pleasant surprise. Okay, let's talk about the healthcare system and doctors in Australia, because this is something that as well, it really surprised me when I first came here. To be honest, I was a bit confused. Now, if you want to know about the healthcare system in Australia, I have a whole dedicated video about it. I think it's going to make your life easier. Now, in my country, in Argentina, and I know many European countries are exactly the same, when you have an ailment, when you're feeling sick, perhaps you have a tummy issue, you usually go to the specialist directly. You go to the gastroenterologist, right? That's the case in my country. Whereas here in Australia, your first point of contact is your GP, your general practitioner. Basically, a doctor that does general practice, and they're not a specialist, but they do everything. It's general
medicine. The same for us.
And then perhaps they're going to give you a prescription, refer you for x-rays, etc. Now, if your tummy ache gets worse over time and the issue doesn't get resolved, then your GP is going to refer you to a specialist. But your first point of contact here in Australia is a GP. Another example, if you have to go to the gynecologist and have a pap smear, here in Australia, again, you go to your GP first. Whereas in my country, you usually go to the gynecologist first, and you're going to have your own gynecologist, your specialist, and you have all the tests. The gynecologist does everything for you. Whereas here in Australia, you are going to go to the GP or a nurse, perhaps, and they're going to do that for you. Something interesting, again, a huge difference. Again, another thing that really surprised me when I first came to Australia was Australian football or footy or Aussie rules, or it has so many names, AF.
I'm not a huge sports fan, or at least I haven't been. I have recently been following the World Cup for the very first time. And prior to following the World Cup, I've never watched sports. No football, American football, baseball, cricket, rugby, like none of that stuff even crossed my mind. But as I've been getting into the World Cup, it is really interesting. I don't think it's something that I could follow year round, but I love the excitement around the World Cup. The fact that it's only every 4 years. And somebody, shout out to you, sorry, I can't remember what your name was, but I commented on one of my previous videos recently that I should get into Australian football and look into the rules, as it's so much different and very unique. So please suggest specific videos that I could look up. I'd love to know the rules and kind of get into that a little bit. As I feel like if I can get into the World Cup, this is also going to be very interesting to me.
Well, anyway, I remember the first time I was here, I got my apartment, I turned the TV on, and there was a footy match going on. For me, it was a big surprise. And to be honest, at the time,
Wait a second, I just realized that field is round.
I turned the TV on, and there was a footy match going on. For me, it was a big surprise. And to be honest, at the time, I hadn't even heard about footy. Yeah, it was a mix of rugby and soccer, but I wasn't really sure what was going on. It's basically neither. It's just a unique sport. Very unique again to Australia, and Aussies love it, especially here in Melbourne. Most of my Australian colleagues as well, they're super fans of Collingwood, Richmond, Essendon. It's very interesting. I've been to 2 footy matches. What I really like is the family Essendon. It's very interesting. I've been to
People just rush in the field after the game or something?
2 footy matches. What I really liked is the family environment. It's very family oriented. Rivals can sit next to each other. There's no aggression. Well, at least in my opinion, when I compare it to the Argentinian team or when you compare it to England, they're...
What is that? That looks like an American football field goal, except you're missing the middle piece and there's 4 poles. I need videos. Please drop me some videos to watch. I need to know what the heck is going on here.
Much more. Yeah, it's another kind of passion, if you want. But here in Australia, it's more family oriented, and that's something that, yeah, I really appreciate and I do like. Another thing that surprised me about Australia is the fact that it's compulsory for school kids to always wear sun protective hats outside. Of course, the reason for this is that Australia has some of the highest UV levels in the world. So it's a measure, again, that for me was surprising, because when I was in school, I didn't have to wear a hat. It wasn't compulsory, but at the same time, yeah, it makes complete sense. So it's actually really, really good. And another thing in relation to the Australian school dress code, if you want, is the fact that school kids have to carry very big bags. So you see the little 7-year-old carrying a bag that is almost bigger than them.
Huge backpack for a small child. What is the percentage of Americans? What is the percentage of Australians that have back problems very early on? Because that backpack looks like it weighs a ton on that small kid's back.
And I don't know, it's weird. In my uneducated opinion, and I'm not a health professional, I'm not a chiropractor, so I'm not sure, but in my opinion, carrying a lot of weight at that age probably poses some kind of risk for the kid's posture. Sure. I'm not sure. You can leave a comment if you know more about this. Growing up, in my case, all kids have the wheelie bags. We basically use that.
Oh,
so yeah, that was another thing that I found weird, surprising. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's interesting, I guess. Okay, another thing that I think it's weird, surprising, is the unique wildlife here in Australia. Of course.
First, I thought that was an elephant. Forget you heard that.
First, before coming here, you always hear about the kangaroos and the koalas, and these are very unique animals indeed. I don't think there are animals like these marsupials anywhere else in the world. But something that not many people know, and I include myself when I first came here, is that there are many more unique animals.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know if this is like just what's the word I'm looking for? Like a myth. There we go. I knew it'd come to me eventually. Or not, but someone once said or told me that kangaroos for you guys are like deer for us. Like they're everywhere, like hopping across the road, like literally everywhere. And for whatever reason, growing up, I always just kind of pictured kangaroos, well, I guess in zoos, because that's what they are over here, but I never quite thought of them just free roaming like all over the place. That's freaking cool.
Beyond the kangaroo and the koala, there are wallabies, quokkas, wombats. So every time I go hiking and every time I come across one of these animals, I find it very fascinating. It kind of tells you about the unique geography and diversity.
What is that? Echidna. Oh wait, that's something in Sonic the Hedgehog, right?
diversity in Australia. I know that the quokkas are unique, for example, to Western Australia. So yeah, it's very interesting.
My wife loves
and
quokkas.
To be honest, even when I see a kangaroo or a wallaby, I still get very excited. Even again, after so many years of living here, yeah, it's fascinating and it's very, very unique. Another thing that really surprised me about Australia, and perhaps it shouldn't have, considering how important the beach lifestyle is for this country, is that they have a beach safety education program called NEPERS. This is basically a program where kids as young as 5 years old learn about beach safety and rescue techniques. So if you're at the beach at any coastal town in Australia, usually in the morning during weekends, you are probably going to come across all these kids being trained for the NEPERS program, basically being trained on life-saving techniques and, as I said, beach safety, etc. So
as you guys get to know me a little bit more, my wife and I have been married since 2015, been dating since 2010. We've just recently had our first child back in March of this year. He's already growing like a weed. Fatherhood's been great. I've never been to Australia. My wife would love to go to Australia. I think it's been on her bucket list since she was a kid. This is great information to have, because through this entire experience of reactions, my goal is to not just sit here and intake all of this information and do nothing with it. My goal is to get on a plane, go to Australia, and actually see some of this stuff in real time for the first time, and vlog it and come back and put it together. I've done that very same thing with some good friends of mine over on another channel, Blanks No One Asked For, where we react to British content, and we've learned so much about British culture over the last 2 years, which is what inspired me to get into Australian culture, because that thirst and hunger for additional information and knowledge outside of the US basically constantly knocking on the inside of my brain now that I've got a taste. So very cool. I hope to get to Australia sometime very, very soon.
Yeah, it's something that I would have loved to be able to have when growing up. I find it amazing. And of course, again, this reflects the importance of knowing how to swim here in Australia. That's super important. That's the one skill
that's awesome.
You need to learn if you're seeking that beach lifestyle, I guess. So those are the things that I find interesting, surprising, weird about Australia as a migrant. And yeah, let me know what's your opinion about them. If you have any surprising things that you've seen here, what do you think about these cultural differences? And if you want to watch similar videos about life in Australia, what it is like to live here, watch these videos here and here, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, I don't know what you guys thought of that video, but dude, that was like, I didn't really have expectations at the beginning, but that was so insightful. I feel like it was a great introduction and start to learning the differences in cultures between here in the States and over in Australia. If you have any other videos that you could recommend in the same vein that would help me maybe dig a little bit deeper into some of these things, I think that would be great. But hats off. If you want to check out this creator, the link to this video is posted in my description. And again, if you're not already subscribed to me, I would greatly appreciate it. Being new here on YouTube, the subscriptions really do help get more eyes on me and more visibility as far as YouTube is concerned, showing my content to new people. I'd like to thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, and also I'd like to hope that you'll come back for the next, and we'll see you next time here on America Without a Clue. Just because this video is over doesn't mean the fun has to stop here. Click either one of the videos down below to continue watching a clueless American experience all things Australia. We'll see you next time.